Hello, before this video starts, I want to give you a last trigger warning as all of the stories are hard to listen to. Also, if you experienced something like this and need help, I have dropped a link in the description where you can get the help you need. Men who have been raped, what happened / how did you recover? Was raped by an uncle, retired military / firefighter, from 7 to 13 years old. Violence and pain were his thing. Pretty standard story of using threats of ending me and my mom or my older brother if I ever spoke about it. Finally stood up to him just before my 14th birthday. From 13 to 18 years old, I kind of junkied out and started down the road of self-deprecating behavior. Finally told my parents at 18 years old, and of course no one believed me. 56 now, never had any quality relationships, nor have I ever been able to find therapy to alleviate the trust and intimacy issues that I carry. So the truth of the matter is I never really recovered from it. 12K edit. This morning when I woke up and wrote these few short sentences, I never could have expected so much support and genuine compassion. I'll admit that writing the post brought a lot of things to the surface that I hadn't given any attention to in some years. And I've never spoken openly about any of this prior to today. I've only spoken to about 24 people my entire life about it. That includes 7 therapists, so to say, I've been little soggy today is a bit of an understatement. I do believe a touch of my faith in humanity was restored today. Just thanks. I was 9 and with my aunt. My stomach was paining. She asked to look into it and went down on me. It happened for a few years. I didn't know what's happening that time, but when I shared it with my friends later, they called me puss. I also shared it with my ex, during adulthood. She was sympathetic at first, but then used it against me during any fights. Now, I have trust and intimacy issues and feels that I won't be ever experience what it feels to be in a healthy relationship. I feel like Charlie from the book Perks of Being a Wallflower. When I was 7, I attended sleepover as a part of my neighborhood Kia troop. Kias are junior Boy Scouts in my country. There were 30 sh boys all sleeping around the outside of this enormous gymnasium, and I woke in the middle of the night to the 30-something-year-old scout leader hovering above me. He was doing something that it took me years to understand. He then took my underwear and put them in front pocket of my backpack, and whispered to me that he was just changing my underwear because I had wet my pants, and if I didn't want my parents to be mad at me, I best not tell them about this. Many years later, in my 20s, I was shopping at the local Kmart when he walked up to me to ask if I needed help finding anything. Turns out he worked there. I got away from him as quickly as I could. Truth be told, I don't have particularly strong feelings about the whole thing other than a constant feeling of guilt about how many other boys he may have done it to since. Not R, but SA. 17 years old, second day ever at work. Late 30s woman grabbed me by the testicles saying you like this big boy and twisted. I ended up in ED that night with testicular torsion. Lost lefty. Reported to HR, they said I had no complaint as I would have liked it. Sued them, HR lost evidence and said no complaint was ever made. During discovery, a newbie in HR, the only male, put a do not release file into the box accidentally. The lawyer for the employer immediately offered to settle. 12 HR employees were sacked, all female, whose initials appeared on the missing file that they all said never existed. No charges ever got laid on any HR nor the woman who SA me. Edit. To answer the question why the file was important. They based their case on not that I was injured, but on it never happened at work and I would have reported it to them if it did. Thus hiding that I reported it strengthened their case. That blew that claim up when my lawyer got hold of a file with my complaint and things written on it like how do we make this go away and some other vile comments. My ex-wife handcuffed me to a bed and tried to get me to have a 3-way with her and one of my friends, another guy. She didn't go through with it and played it off as if it was a joke, but it did give me serious trust issues. He was my best mate, we were 19. He put on a game he knew well and declared that the loser of every round had to drink. When that didn't work, he gave me pills he said were ecstasy. Scene missing, suddenly I'm face down and my bole hurts. He sat on the edge of the bed crying and throws me out. I tell nobody but my partner, and we never speak again. Many years later, said partner tries to get us to reconnect. I broke up with her on the spot. Which was the right call, as I found out later she wanted a three-way. With my rapist. I was okay with. Sort of. I didn't remember anything, really. But that fed me up. It took me years to trust anyone again, but I did. The love of someone good is the best curative possible. But if you can't get that, talk to a professional. And if you can't do that, a friend. And if you can't do that, internet strangers. Just don't let it fester. When I was 16, I was arrested for burglary and spent 6 months in a juvenile facility. One of the counselors sexually assaulted me and several other boys. When he was on night duty, he would show us porn and ask us to compare the size of our penises to one another. He would also show us how to huff inhalants. One of his favorite games he called a space monkey, which involved a boy standing against a wall while the counselor would have his hands on our throats. He'd squeeze until we passed out and watch us wake back up. I sliced my arm open with a razor blade that I stole from a staff member so that I could go to the hospital to tell someone about the abuse. It took 20 stitches to close my arm. Children and Youth Services, as well as the state police, opened an investigation. The boys were sent home, the facility was shut down, and a lawsuit followed. I'm 32 now, and am still haunted by it. My brother did various things by framing it as a game of truth or dare. Despite being a strong and threatening dude already, he didn't have to threaten physical violence, he just had to threaten to tell our mother, which is a highlight to level of emotional abuse from that end of the family. Broke away from the family that's most inane at 24, got therapy, learned Krav Maga for personal safety. Then dated someone especially abusive, another sexual abuse instance, get more therapy, take a 4-year break from dating to finish school and get a job. And start a great relationship. At age 36, my life couldn't be better, smiley face. Cheesy edit, but thanks for the support everyone. Far and away my most upvoted anything on any platform, and solid support all around. It can be pretty difficult for men to be supported, or even believed, about this sort of thing. I hope we all stride forward to great lives. I was 15, had a girlfriend, but I was watching Super Troopers at a friend's house drinking and smoking weed when I fell asleep. I woke up choking on him and immediately vomited, but I was so tired and confused. His brother came down asking what was going on, but was reassured everything was on the up and up. I fell asleep again. When I woke up next, this friend was on top of me and inside of me. Panic and fear. That's all I can remember. Told me to keep it our secret or else he'd tell everyone I was gay, which at the time, to me, was a social death sentence. He groomed me for months before that and continued to abuse me for another year after. He broke into my house and chased me, pinned me to the couch. Showed up at my house in the middle of the night. Years have passed since then, and he has since passed. I was 15 when it happened the first time. You never recover, you just adapt. You become more protective of yourself and others, more empathetic, more sympathetic, more angry. So much more angry. I've come close to ending my story on several occasions, but seem to talk myself out at the last moment. These days I don't trust any man and am constantly in fight or flight. It's exhausting. Was on a football trip when much younger, and this girl who was in the hotel with her friends told me she wanted to F me. I said I had a girlfriend and it wasn't going to happen, but thanks for the ego boost. I went to bed that night after drinks etc., and my mate, who was sharing the room with me, told me this girl was going around the hotel trying to find my room and had found out where I was. He told me to move room, so I did, and she didn't find me that night. Next day the same thing happened. We all ended up back at the hotel after clubbing etc., and she wouldn't leave me alone. I traded rooms with another friend and went and drunkenly crashed in his room. She somehow got in and was sucking my dick, trying to make it hard, and was trying to put a condom on me, at least. Another friend saw what was happening, door left open apparently, and shooed her out. I passed out again to wake up to her backed up against me and using my morning wood for sex, without a condom this time. It took me a while to realize what was going on, and I eventually told her to get out. Obviously, I then had a massive panic as I had to go home to my girlfriend, and all the lads on the bus knew I'd had sex with somebody. I was about 18 or 19 at the time. My girlfriend wanted intimacy when I got home, and I obviously couldn't do it due to the condom, so told her what happened, and she went fing mental and accused me of cheating on her. At the time, I didn't even realize that I'd done nothing wrong, apart from being too drunk to protect myself, and it led to us breaking up for a while before she eventually forgave me. I got an STI from that girl too, and had to take a course of tablets. It was a really effed up situation from somebody old enough to have known better and extremely predatory. I wish I'd been smart enough to realize what was happening, but this was the late 90s, and rape against men wasn't a thing that was really thought about. Thank you for watching, friend. Until next time, and remember to stay hydrated.